know. I totally didn't get you a headset, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It's so loud.
I know. Oh my god. Everybody, welcome to Let's Do a Podcast. My name is Ryan.
My name is Anthony.
And we have a special guest today. We're going to go ahead and introduce him because it's almost awkward to pretend that he's not even here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different when you're in an audio medium. When you're in the visual medium, right there. So
for everybody that's watching, this is John.
Yep, good friend John. Friend of the podcast.
Yeah. John, do you want to share a little bit about yourself? You don't have to. We can just pretend you're an awkward person we met off the street if you want.
Well, I am slightly awkward, but being
welcome to the group.
Grew up in the UK, been in the US about 5 months. Luckily enough to have met these two guys. Looking forward to talking about beer and movies today.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for coming down, man.
All right. I actually, for some reason, started to go ahead and crack this open.
You jumped the gun majorly, sir.
I know.
How dare you?
It's because my sipping beer while we watched this movie was a 10%er. So, and I've had like barely anything to eat, and I haven't had much water, so I'm already feeling pretty good. So today we are having Citrus Slice from our buddies over at Community.
Yeah, it's one of you love it. You love to drink it. It's a classic. Community Citrus Slice. And sweet. I suck at that.
We're doing awesome.
Yeah.
Thriving. We're thriving today.
I think we're right on par for usual.
Yeah. I mean, this should be expected. That this is just always a train wreck. So these were provided by John himself.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had this before, John?
I have.
Okay,
it's one of my favorite Texas beers, actually.
Yeah, it's a great beer. I mean, most of Community stuff is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So Anthony, you're no more cracking open.
Yeah. So let's go with the good stuff here. So I just want to give everybody, and you can tell me if this comes across there, Ryan. So look at
oh yeah, baby.
Oh, that's sad. That's a sad thing that just happened to me.
What'd you do?
It didn't fully open. The tab popped off. This has never happened to me.
I have these if you need to punch it open. Thriving today, everybody. Thriving. And of course, I'll display the can.
Always be prepared.
There you go.
There we go. We're gonna do it the Aussie way, which is good, which is really fitting.
I mean, yeah. But if you saw the title of this movie, it is
Occupation.
Thank you.
Rainfall.
I totally forgot already.
Yeah, which you would think Operation Rainfall would make more sense, but Occupation Rainfall is where they went with it because of this is another sequel that we watched without watching the original.
We like to do that around here. We like to watch the sequel and then maybe we'll go back and watch the original.
Yeah, may have to just so I understand what the hell happened during this movie.
I was going to say it wasn't confusing at all to start with.
Oh, I mean, I felt the same way. So
it's Iron Sky all over again.
Oh, jeez. So you want to give us a little breakdown about this beer? Then we'll talk. I'll throw out there like 2, maybe 3 beer events that are happening, and we're just gonna get onto this movie.
All right. So just coming from the Community webpage here. So 7% ABV with a 50 IBUs, bitterness units there, and it's got a 14.7 OG gravity there. Now that's one unit I'm not familiar with. I need to go research that. I'm just reading that and I don't know what it is. So this is one that they say they got out of some trips to the Yakima Valley in the Pacific Northwest. Uses premium citra hops and they blend them with lemon and orange peel. You can really taste it in there. This is one I've had before. I've had as well. I think they started brewing this one. Man, this one is actually relatively new. Like when you compare it to something like Mosaic.
Yeah.
When they started distributing their stuff wide, this is one of the ones that they started distributing wide with that. But this really comes out very citrus forward, very tropical flavors. This is an American IPA, but to me, it's really close to like my typical like New England IPA vibes. But yeah, American IPA, 7%. It's got great bitterness, and flavor profile: citrus, light, smooth, hazy, and body. So yeah, everything they say it is, that's what it is. So, yeah. And every batch is consistent too, which is good when you're distributing it wide like they do.
Oh yeah,
so,
you have to. If you don't, then like you shouldn't be doing this. So obviously we've had it before, but have you had a few sips of it right now? And what are you feeling about this? Usually we do a beer that we haven't had or that we haven't had in so long. And so we get to kind of talk about how we feel about it immediately. And then at the end, we usually rate it. So
this is the best of the Community beers I've had today. I did have a Mosaic. I did have 2 Mosaic IPAs earlier today. So
Jeez.
Yeah, this is beer number 4 to me today. So
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You really get that. I mean, that citrus thing really hits you, right?
Mhm.
Right to start with. It's really refreshing.
quite forward,
actually.
yeah.
And I've been drinking a few other beers today, but yeah, no, this one tastes different and it's quite
Yeah,
refreshing.
It's like the citrus and the bitterness kind of just like land. And it doesn't say it on here, but I think there's like a hint of like some of the dankness in there as well.
Yeah, there's a little bit.
Yeah,
I
there's a
noticed
little,
that too.
not very heavy, but it's there. Yeah.
So obviously, as usual, if we remember, it's usually if we remember, we will rate this at the end of the episode after we go through the entire beer. Yes, we have been drinking beforehand. Don't judge us. We're
there's nothing wrong with
alcoholics.
pre-gaming.
Yeah. John chose to have 2 beers while sitting here.
Yeah, double fisting. Come
Yeah,
on.
there's no judgment. I almost thought after we sat down, I was like, I should have got another beer.
It's just so that I can have a fair comparison.
Yeah,
between
exactly.
the two, right? So
Yeah.
it's like if you're like drinking wine, you like to have water or something. You want to refresh your palate.
Exactly. Yeah, it's to make sure that you really get the full flavors of
and
the
they're
next
both
beer.
they're both Texas beers, so it's fine. It's fine. We are meeting criteria here, so
Exactly. So just a quick. I'm gonna pick these 3 that I found. Events. Of course, we find all of our events through Big. Nope.
Beer and Big D.
Nope. Yeah, it's Beer and Big D, not
Yeah.
Big D. And yeah. Yeah, that almost went very wrong.
Yeah.
That may be really right.
I don't know what websites you go to, Ryan, but I don't go to that one.
Yeah, I go through a lot of them. So on June 4th, because we're at the end of the month, there's nothing till June 4th. Whiskey cigar night at Steam Theory. That sounds
Steam Theory.
pretty awesome.
That's always good.
Let's see. We have the donut and beer pairing.
Where's that at?
That's over at 4 Bullets this time.
Really?
Yeah.
They used to have that at the was that the Groves?
Yeah, the place that we did it at though,
Trinity Groves is where you used to have it. Yeah.
They that place isn't there anymore.
Yeah, that's not there
so-
anymore. But I did see that they reopened their restaurant somewhere else. Where is that? Is this the place where they ended up moving their operation over to?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I know they moved their operation to some other place, but I couldn't remember what it was. So,
And then,
but hey, that's always good. I always like a good donut beer pairing.
oh yeah, that was really fun whenever we did it.
Yeah.
And then 3 Nations has their 7-year anniversary party on the 11th.
years.
7
Wow.
years.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think about going out there, especially since as of lately, I kind of started becoming friends with a lot of the brewers and the marketing people. So I was like, I guess I should probably make my way over there.
Yeah.
So we'll maybe we'll be at some of those.
Yeah. It's
I say that, but we never let you guys know if we ever do. So
I always keep meaning to go out there, but they ended up opening their new facility. Like, was it like in like late 2019, early 2020, like
Something
right
like
before
that, yeah.
COVID. So I've never made it over there, and I hope to be over there in the near term. So it's I will have reason to be in the area, so I can like just make a quick hop over there. So
yeah,
it's gonna be great.
So I mean, I know that John, we've been over to Steam Theory with you guys actually. What did you think of Steam Theory?
I really liked it. It was good. It was really good fun, actually. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of places you can get like a good beer that's been made on site, and then also like good food with that. That's
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that
I love
was-
food truck food as much as the next guy, but
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest plus.
Yeah.
Was like it was really good food. Like we stayed there so long, a lot longer than I originally planned. But I was like, it's good food, and we had good beer, and we were just chatting. It
And the
was
weather
nice.
was nice on the day, right? I think
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
It was.
And they
Actually, I was actually my first day. My last day actually at my last job. So
yeah.
Yes.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it was that Friday, and I was like, well, I'm gonna celebrate. And let me tell you, I celebrate, and I felt terrible the next day.
That means you're doing it right.
Right. All right. So, I mean, those are pretty much the only events I'm going to talk about just because I want us to get to this movie. But of course, go to beerandbigd.com if you want to know what hell's happening in the DFW. And of course, we'll put it in the show notes. And big shout out to, I can't remember his name that put this together. But
I don't want to get it wrong, but it's like
it's a good thing the mic didn't pick you up because I think that's wrong. So.
okay. Yeah, ignore what I said.
All right. So let's get to this stupid movie. Are you ready?
It's a movie.
It is a movie.
All right. So the movie we watched, as we mentioned earlier, we watched Occupation Rainfall. And the storyline is as follows. So got this from IMDb. We'll see how accurate this is. Sorry. So 2 years into an intergalactic invasion of Earth, Sorry, gotta get my voice. Survivors in Sydney, Australia fight back in a desperate ground war. As casualties mount by the day, the resistance and their unexpected allies uncover a plot that could see the war come to a decisive end. With the alien invaders hell-bent on making the Earth their new home, the race is on to save mankind. Dun, dun, dun.
There you
It's
go.
pretty accurate, actually. Light on details, which is good.
Yeah.
There's some of these descriptions out there like, this is specifically what happens during the course of the movie. And then we watch the movie and like, that is not what happened during the course of this movie at all. Liars.
So, rating wise, it got a 5.3 out of 10
Okay.
on IMDb.
Better than a lot of movies we've seen.
Yeah, which is really not bad. And I was a little bit surprised it's ranked that high. I mean, it's not a bad movie, but it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like, I think it depends, right? I think when I was thinking about it, I was like, well, hey, it reminds me of a lot of movies from like the late 80s, early 90s. It kind of harks back to that kind of area. I didn't, maybe I went into it not expecting much, but actually, sure, I wouldn't give it 10.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that rating's that far off.
there you go.
Yeah. So I'm curious about this movie because this is the sequel to the movie called Occupation, hence its name Occupation Rainfall. The movie Occupation that preceded this one was released in 2018, so they don't have the excuse of COVID. It got a total box office of $34,000 during its entire run, and they decided to make a sequel for that. That movie was like they made that movie for about $2 million or so dollars. They got $34,000 in box office receipts. The Amazon Prime, I believe, bought the rights to it for about $800,000, so they did not make their money back, and they decided to make another one. This one made in the theater. It was released in 2021 in just Australia and New Zealand, so I imagine the restrictions are a little bit tighter than they are here in the U.S. But they made $343,000 in box office receipts. This one was $8 million.
Yeah, that's really rough.
Yeah. I don't know how much they got selling the rights to this movie to Netflix.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. I was like,
But they are making another one. So
yeah, they must have sold it enough for they're like, okay, we can make another one.
All the investors are just hardcore gamblers, right? They're just doubling down each time. They're like, hey,
it's gonna make money eventually, right?
Like, this is gonna come good eventually, right?
Third time the charm. I got this.
As we were kind of discussing this a little bit prior to the movie, I was telling Ryan, I was like, this has got to be a tax scam or something. They gotta be like using this to write off like debts or something like that, and so they can get subsidies from the government or something. I don't know. It's not like, but it's not like they made this movie and just like spent all their money on the special effects. They got like they got like maybe your lower tier A-listers, because they got like Tamara Morrison, the actor who plays every single clone trooper in Star Wars and Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And like Captain Rex and like basically every clone trooper, every clone in Star Wars. You got also Ken Jeong, star of Community, star of The Hangover, star of Masked Singer. I don't know.
Yeah, so many
a judge, panelist.
I just couldn't pass move past Mr. Chow when I saw
it.
That's constantly what was stuck in my head through that movie. So.
Yeah, it's even from the trailer, you knew they were really banking on people watching this movie for Ken.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they put him front and center, but he's like not in the movie very much.
You don't see him till like the end of the fucking movie. I was very disappointed.
Well, no, they put him like front and center right in the beginning. So like, hey, don't forget he's in this movie, and then like 3 days earlier, and then you don't see him until like the last like maybe third of the movie.
Yeah, it was actually very annoying.
It was almost a Nick Cage situation there.
It was. Yeah, one of those. Oh jeez, yeah, that fucking movie. But yeah, pretty much so we were talking about the first half of this movie, it's a serious movie, and the last half of this movie, it's like a comedy type feel. Because they introduce Ken and the joking alien Steven?
Steve. Yeah, Steve. Yeah,
Steve
no,
with the mustache.
Yeah.
Steve with the mustache. I love that.
Voiced by Jason Isaacs, the guy who he was like was it Lucian Malfoy? Basically any bad guy that like is it like anytime you have somebody who's playing like a British bad guy, like he was the bad guy in The Patriot. He was the Draco Malfoy's dad in Harry Potter. He's like always like the bad guy. He's like in Revolutionary War. He's like the red coat in like I'm sure if he hasn't yet, I'm sure he's gonna play like an Imperial officer at some point in Star Wars. It's like he's always like that bad guy vibe, but he played like a silly alien in this one, which I think is a great
I liked
change of
it.
pace
I
for
liked
him.
it a
Yeah,
lot, but
I liked it. He did really well.
all
Steve
right.
the alien.
So leading up to this first, so let's talk about the first half of this movie before we just get all scattered all over the place. So, and I actually want to break it down to the first half of the movie, pretty much before we see Ken. What did you like and dislike? So it was something.
Oh yeah, because it was
liked.
basically two different movies.
It
right?
felt like two different fucking movies. It's stupid. So what did you like about the first half of the movie, Anthony?
Oh, what did I like about the first half of this movie? So this is gonna be kind of nerdy, but what I liked about this movie is they did get like they kept talking about all this stuff with the Pine Gap facility and like it being like codename Rainfall. This is all like accurate stuff. They actually like a lot of times when they do these movies, they don't like go on Wikipedia and just like do simple like checks. But I feel like they just base their entire movie around this Wikipedia article. And it's like, how can we set up some plot contrivance for the third movie, apparently, and so we can have them eventually succeed against these aliens. And it's like, let's have them go to this Pine Gap facility and have some MacGuffin that they have to get, and it's at the Pine Gap facility, this U.S. research facility, military facility out in the middle of the outback in Australia. And its code name is Rainfall in real life. And thus we get the title of this movie. And the whole like thing was like, we have to go find Project Rainfall. And it sounds really cool to say, but it's just like well, that's the other thing too. It's like the Area 51 of like the outback. Cause it's it's like a National Reconnaissance Office site where they have contact with all the different spy satellites and stuff like that. So nobody knows what goes on there. So it's like, why not it be a big thing that can either help the aliens or help destroy the aliens? Who knows? But that's what I like. Is like I was like, they did their homework. It was great. Yeah, you don't see that a lot.
It's sure.
My standards are low.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to be doing this podcast. What about you, John? What did you like about the first half of this movie?
I actually thought the special effects were okay. It reminded me a lot of Star Wars, if I'm honest. I like kind of some of the vehicles in the movie, the way they kind of did that. I like the special effects. I like how that all kind of came together.
They got a lot of bang for their buck, yeah.
Yeah, and that for what I thought was a low budget movie, till Anthony told me it was $8 million, which is still relatively low budget, right? But like, hey, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, probably most of that probably came from the Australian government.
Probably, yeah.
I actually thought the special effects were pretty good, and I enjoyed just watching that.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I really liked the special effects. I thought they actually pulled it off pretty good. I expected it to be a lot lower quality. So the fact that really with that budget, because they spent a lot on the actors, they spent a lot on like a lot of just equipment, and just they spent a lot of money, but they made sure to still spend the money wisely on the special effects.
Yeah,
which it's actually hard to find a movie like that.
It makes War of the Worlds Annihilation look like a student project.
Yeah.
Puppets.
It looks like they might have used puppets.
Yeah.
So what did you dislike about the first half? I'll go first since we'll flip it. I disliked so much of the interaction between all of the characters. It felt so bland for me. I felt like they were trying so hard to create something like some sort of relationships between people. I just felt like they're pushing so fucking hard for something I don't care about.
See, I feel like that's kind of on us, because I feel like a lot of this probably got set up in the first movie, and so like you get more payoff in this movie.
Yeah,
if we'd seen the first one, it may ring different.
No, we're not talking about that because we've watched this movie. Yes, it's our fault, but still, if you don't know, like us, we didn't know till we started watching it.
That's true.
That this was a second one. You still should care. They should still almost have to reteach you people to like these people, especially since when was the first one came out versus now. that's a long period. People are not necessarily going to go watch the first one and try to remember everything.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
true.
have to be able to love the characters, and
Yeah.
I didn't care. I cared more about the aliens than I did the actual individual people for the first half of this movie.
And that's you make a good point.
I know.
Because I would say this is like their Empire Strikes Back in like the tone.
Yeah.
And if you watched nothing but Empire Strikes Back, you would know who everybody is. You would know what their deal is. You
Yeah.
don't have to see the first Star
Yeah.
Wars or the third Star Wars to get what's going on in the movie and get what their relationships are. So yeah, you're right. It doesn't. You don't need to. They can't rely on somebody having seen the prior movie, particularly as that was a very low budget movie or relatively low budget movie that had very low exposure. Didn't have nearly exposure as this one did, and this one didn't have that much exposure either because we didn't hear about it until about 2 weeks ago. At least, and so it's not got a high exposure, at least in the States. But yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, I retract my comment.
Yeah, damn right. John, what about you?
I mean, for me, it's kind of related, right? I really struggled to pick up the story in the first half of the movie. It just felt disjointed.
Yeah.
And I think it comes back to the same point. If I'd seen the first movie, I think it'd have flowed much better. But instead, you're kind of dropped into this world. You're trying to work out, well, what is each character? What's their role in this?
Yeah.
What are they trying to do? Where are they trying to go? Where's this all kind of going, right? And because it felt like I was halfway through a movie when I started that movie, and that to me was like that was a confusing point for me, and I was kind of scratching my head, and I was like, well, have I missed things, or what's going on there, right?
And like, I don't remember who said it, but they're like, they should have done a previously on.
Yeah. They totally should have.
For one, at the beginning, like, oh, we're watching a second one. Yeah. Oh, here's what happened.
Well, it's like, and maybe spoilers a little bit for those of us who haven't seen. I don't know. Have you guys seen the Obi-Wan show yet?
No.
Okay. Well,
shut your mouth.
I'm not giving anything away, but they do have prior to it and during the course of things, they kind of give you a little reminders. This is what happened leading up to this. So if you're just watching the Obi-Wan show, you're not coming in blind. You understand what the trauma everybody is dealing with because they're having like a nightmare about it. Yeah. Or there's something that somebody talks about the reason why they are like so traumatized at this point. So like they could do something a little more referential to that. That we get your generic. There was an invasion and it's now been just over 2 years and they're in Sydney, but we don't know like how anybody relates to each other.
Yeah, and I mean, I was even thinking about Iron Sky because we watched the second Iron Sky before we watched the first one.
Yeah,
but they at least did quick, here's what pretty much happened. There was a war, and now we're on
Nazis on the moon. Yeah.
So it was just like it was a quick thing, but you at least knew what you were getting into. Versus this one, you fucking went in blind.
Yeah, I do like that one because like even though we did get that update on this is what's happening and this is what led to this movie, we still didn't know. We still had no idea what the hell happened in that first movie.
It doesn't matter.
It was like I was like, wow, I didn't know any of this happened in this movie.
Yeah. Whenever it's over, you're still like, what?
Yeah, that's true.
So it didn't matter for that fucking movie. And that's another thing. If your second movie really doesn't even relate to the first movie, I wouldn't care. Because we've seen a few of those.
Yeah, but it's all the same characters, all the same actors. Yeah. So yeah.
So
there was a line here.
Yeah. So I agree with John. Just like it starts off, you feel like you're coming into a middle of a movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, am I supposed to know what the hell's going on? So Anthony?
My complaint is dumb for the first part of the movie. There.
I know what it is too.
It's always my complaint. It's always like something about the airplanes, right?
Yeah, always about the
airplanes. It's always the airplanes. Well, I mean, why not? So like their whole thing is that they have like air cover during the course of the entirety of this campaign. They're fighting the aliens, F-18s, and I'm like, okay, if I'm like the person in charge of the aliens and I have spaceships and I have these giant laser command ships and all this other stuff, all I got to do is like drop a bunch of holes in a freaking runway, and those F-18s are useless. Those things are flying around and blowing up all their different ships, all their fighters and everything. They're providing air cover for the ground resistance. You go and find out wherever they're. It's not going to be hard to follow them. Go back to where they land. They run out of fuel eventually.
No, not in this movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you don't run out of fuel. You don't run out of ammo. You don't run out of anything.
I was wondering what they're going to do at the very end of this movie because you see the F-18s flying. I'm like, I don't know where the hell they're going to land because they're in the middle of this village in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
but
it doesn't matter.
But but all I got to do is like drop a few bombs in the middle of a runway, and boom, those things either they can't land if they're already flying, or they can't take off if they're on the ground. Easy peasy. Air cover is done. Also, like you see all these F-18s getting shot down. Australian Air Force only has like 20 of those things, so they're running out of them quickly. It's like, and F-35 is nowhere to be seen. So
yeah, but we discussed that. And
That's
do you
true.
do you think that's just a timing thing of when the
it
movie
may be a
was filmed,
timing
right?
thing, but even then, they only have 60. They only have 60 F-18s at this point, so they're still losing them at quite a high rate.
Maybe maybe who knows what happened in the first movie? Maybe they brought all theirs to the Australia.
From
the
ones from the US.
Yeah.
How are you going to support all these things? What's the logistics? I want to know the logistics of this movie.
Somebody get us in contact.
I need a data sheet.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Let's talk about the second half of this movie then. I guess let's talk about let's start off with the negatives since we did. Let's switch it up. What did you not like?
All right, John, what did you not like about the movie?
The second part of this
in the first, in the second half there, yeah.
Whenever we got to meet,
well, when Steve the alien came in, right? It felt like a different movie.
Yeah, it was like our introduction to the comedic duo that is Steve the alien and Ken Jeong.
Yeah,
or Bud. Steve and Bud. Yeah.
For me, I preferred the second half to the first half.
Oh yeah,
I like. But I think if I was, to me, it's still. When I watch a movie, I like to be able to weave a story together, and I like to be able to predict where everything's going. I like to understand, well, hey, this is the point of this. And I was still kind of left thinking, well, what is Operation Rainfall? Like, what are we trying to actually achieve here? And where are we trying to get to with this? And that's where I couldn't see the objective. So for me, that was maybe the one frustration I had with the second half of the movie.
And I mean, honestly, like whenever you figure out what Rainfall is, which is the stupid asteroid thing.
Asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, right?
But you're still like, okay. Well, I mean, like, and I feel like it's they make it so it's like, well, the aliens are going to take it and reshoot it at the Earth.
They had to shoot it from the other planet, like 65 million years ago. Right? They're just going to drop it from orbit this time.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't understand the plan.
Yeah,
like, and they're all just like, so they can't make another one. They're like, no. Like,
it's like asteroids right out of the asteroid belt. They can just totally grab those.
It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But I mean,
and then there was the weapon they came up with, right? And they're like, well, we could use this to attack them. And I was like, well, of course you're going to do that. And they're like, no. It's like, that was the other thing I disliked.
Yeah, I didn't really get so they created this poison stuff that killed the actual aliens, and I don't understand why it's so frowned upon to use it.
So I put it. I was thinking of it, and like, So I think their main problem with it is that some of the Greys, which are the aliens, have allied with humanity because they want to stop the war, and so their problem is that if they use it, it'll kill the bad guys, but it'll also kill the people that are helping them, the minority of aliens that's helping them. So it'll kill them too. And I thought about this, and
gas masks.
Huh?
Gas masks.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they have long enough to make gas masks for these guys. I don't know. It's like you got to get them that go against biocontaminants and all this. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it really made me think of the situation in Mass Effect. If you played Mass Effect 3, have you played Mass Effect 3?
I haven't. But
so in Mass Effect 3, there's a thing where you basically get 3 choices on how you're going to defeat the bad guys. You can either control them. You can do synthesis where you become part machine, part organic, and so nobody longer has any need to fight each other. And then there's like a destroy ending where you destroy the bad guys. But if you destroy the bad guys and use this weapon to destroy them, you destroy all like artificial intelligence in the universe. And some of the artificial intelligence is on your side too. People are very big fans of the destroy ending, just like canonically. They prefer it, and they kind of ignore the fact that it's going to kill like these people who are on your team and you actually care about over the course of the game. But people still choose it. So it's like, yeah, these people have been helping humanity kind of survive. But like, you got to go and think of it like the ethics of it. If humanity's going to die, like, or just get wiped out if we don't use this weapon, what choice do we have? It sucks that you're going to kill your allies in doing this, but it's like, it's the terrible calculus of war,
Yeah.
But it's only a handful. It's not like it's a handful of your allies, right? It's not like you're destroying or killing millions of them. And then you've got to ask yourself, well, how many millions or how many hundreds of thousands of the human species are you saving?
Yeah, it's like not to get too much into the terrible stuff that this comes down to. It's like when they did it's like back in World War II when they did the thing where like nobody wanted to use the atomic bomb, but they used it because they said if we use it here and kill this many people, we'll save this many people somewhere else. It's just that terrible math. And so I think that's kind of what this was trying to get to a little bit.
Yeah.
So you had the argument one side where like by all at any cost we're going to do this, and it's like I don't care if we kill our allies. Yeah, the guy, but they made him also, but they made the bad guy into kind of like a cartoon villain. So it was hard to make that argument during the course of the movie and make that kind of distinction. And then you had the other side who was like, by no means, no, we're not going to kill any of our allies. And so it's just they're trying to. I feel like they're trying to make this distinction to make this philosophical argument, but it's also a semi-low budget art action movie with comedy and a cartoonishly evil bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's they end up not using the weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. They end up using the weapon, but not using it to the full potential. But they still also have it. So if we end up seeing chapter 2 of this movie, it may still come to play. So
yeah.
But yeah. I forget what the thing was. The original complaint was, but
yeah. So what did you dislike most, Anthony?
What did I dislike most about this movie? So
the second half.
The second half of this movie. The second half of the movie. The thing I dislike most about this is I don't understand what happened at the very end when the command ship was suctioning out the asteroid out of the base, the underground base at Pine Gap. We never see the asteroid actually get sucked into the ship. I didn't see it. Did you see it? No. We don't know where the asteroid actually ended up. We never get visual confirmation that it actually got put on the ship. We see them with like we see them with like a. I would like to see like they had the VFX budget to show this stuff getting sucked into the ship. They could have just had this freaking large asteroid thing getting sucked up into the ship. We never see it.
Well, I'm guessing that's chapter 2, right?
Maybe.
Right there, that's what they set it up for.
Maybe they're hoping to get better funding so they can animate the asteroid getting sucked into the ship. The thing was really large, so either they just excavated around it and they just sucked a bunch of stuff in there. Because that was the other thing I was worried about was they showed the stuff getting sucked into the ship. There's like this like red laser grid looking thing. So it's like, is it just destroying everything that gets sucked up into it and they're just excavating around it so they can pick it up out of there and just drop it? Or did they just suck the asteroid up into the ship and then they're going to drop it from the command ship up in space? I don't understand what was happening there. It was a lot of chaos. It wasn't really about that. It was about, what's his name? Matt saving Gary the alien and kind of overcoming his prejudice against the Greys. But like, it's very important for the next movie. It's like, who has the stupid asteroid at this point? Who has Project Rainfall? We don't know. We just know everybody knows where it's at.
I didn't get like Matt's objection to Gary either. Right? You're going to raise it there. Like, but what was all that? Like, Gary's someone who had flipped, right? And then Gary was clearly trying to help them throughout.
Yeah.
I didn't really get what that was about.
I was like, I think it's like to show that transition, like, because he's like supposed to be like hardcore anti like alien, and then he like slowly softens over time and becomes his friend. Like you show that character progression over time, but it's just like,
meh.
Abe was the other guy. His name should have been Abe. I kept thinking Gary's name was Abe. But Gary had no progression over the course of the movie because I think all his progression was in the first movie. So, yeah.
So I really disliked whenever Ken was narrating like he had his own like quick little catchphrases.
You didn't like that? I love that.
I did not like that. Well, a serious fight was happening.
He was the hype man for this movie.
Oh my God. It was that part to me. I was just like, they shouldn't have done this. You knew that they were trying to get their money's worth.
Oh,
like, if we're using Ken, we're going to make sure he's in every scene for the second half of this movie.
They just took whatever he said during the most recent Masked Singer and just dubbed in the stuff he was saying.
Pretty much. Like, I don't know why that annoyed me so much.
I think it made the second half much lighter though, right? And that's kind of where like it kind of made me want to get through and that's where I was like, well, I actually don't mind it because it just makes it a bit lighter and more watchable.
The rest of him and Steve, I love.
Yeah, their banter was great.
It was just that little tiny moment where they're all in that one room fighting aliens and he's just in the control room just like, oh snap, and like stupid stuff. You're like, okay. Like, I don't know. I don't know why it bugged me so much. It just did.
He said, he did say "you're welcome" like 3 times, and once in Spanish.
Yeah, he did. He really likes saying "you're welcome" for some reason.
Yeah.
So, what did you like most about this second half? I'm actually gonna say Ken and Steve.
Yeah,
I mean,
they really kind of lifted this movie out of the out of its dour, self-serious tone. Yeah,
they truly were the best part of this whole for the whole movie in itself. To me, was them two.
I would say the first half of this movie was like The Postman, if you remember that Kevin Costner movie from like the 90s. Very, very just kind of dour and depressing. And the second half of this movie was like Fast and Furious a little bit. It's just kind of like crazy, wacky, like high action. Boba Fett's out there running around. We even talk about Tamura Morrison running around and doing his action stuff at his 60-something-year-old ass.
Yeah.
And you got all these other guys. You got Ken Jeong is just spouting one-liners.
It was so funny, especially like whenever they first meet both of them, and Steve's wearing the freaking mustache.
Yeah.
It is pretty good. I think that's probably my favorite.
I remember saying that, I was like, can these aliens grow mustaches? That'd be pretty crazy if they could.
And he's just like, I grow this, and he rips it off him.
Yeah.
Anthony, what about you? What did you like most about this second half of this movie?
Second half of the movie, it's not to just repeat what we're saying. The tone shift in this movie, while it is like a 90-degree left turn during the course of this movie, I wish the entire movie was kind of more in this vein. It took us from this like more modern day type of just like action type movie where it was like we gotta go to the mountains, we gotta get the thing, and we gotta go back, and we're serious about it. And took us back to like that 1980s vibe, like kind of you talked about, where it's like we're getting more towards like our Eddie Murphy action movie territory, where where it's like we got the wisecracking, we got one guy who's like the wisecracking partner. And the other guy was like, yeah, he's the straight man. He's serious, and he's like doing all the high wire action stunts. And then you get your comedian just kind of like, hey, look what that guy just did. So I really liked that kind of this. It was jarring. It was a bit of a jarring change.
Yeah, it really was.
Because there was nothing to signal to us that it was going to be like that. I thought going into this movie, seeing the trailers, that Ken Jeong was actually going to take a serious role, which I thought would have been interesting to see. Seeing some of these comedians do serious roles, sometimes it's really good, some of them just really have the chops. I'm curious if Ken Jeong has the chops for that. We'll never find out.
I mean, I think he could, because there were moments where he played serious.
Yeah.
And I thought it still was good.
Yeah.
So I think if he wanted to play a serious role, he could. But
maybe
he's too damn funny, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you, John?
Well, I think I'm going to try and avoid being repetitive, because actually I agree with both of you. But I think if I wanted to pick up on one final point, I'd say maybe the final quarter of the movie is when the story finally came together for me, right? And that's the one point where I was like, okay, I now know what this thing is. I now kind of can see what they're trying to do. Again, it was more lighthearted, but actually that was the point where it kind of came together a little bit more, and you can start to weave the missing pieces together. But the thing is, it took 90 that long to get there, right?
90 minutes, but you got there. Yeah, that's true. Because you spend so much of the first part of the first like chunk of the movie just trying to play catch up because of the mistakes they make in the beginning, where they just assume what's going on. It's like they think they're like Avengers Endgame or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, God help you, if that's the first Marvel movie you ever see, you're gonna not know what the fuck is going on. But
try to make that your first podcast. That's what we tried to do.
Hey, we did try to do that. That was dumb. That was dumb on our part.
That was fun.
I'm gonna watch that one.
It's not around anymore. We took it off.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even think I published it.
Yeah, it's for the best. Really,
I went home to edit it, and I was just like, I'm not even putting this out. It's bad.
If you just want a 3-hour plot synopsis of me just kind of saying this is what happened during the course of the movie, then that's what you got.
And I sat there and I drank.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah, man, the memories. But no, I agree with you, John. I agree. Well, of course, obviously, we all kind of agree that it's the same thing that changed for us. That what made this movie get better. So before we move on to the rating parts, was there anything else specific that you wanted to bring up about this movie?
they need to fire whoever does their HVAC for that mountain facility, because they hooked up their bioweapon into the air conditioning system, and that's just bad design. Like, she hit a button or something, and like she hit a button on their video editing console, which all their control consoles were video editing consoles. I thought that was pretty funny.
It's pretty great.
Because I don't know if you ever got a chance to work with those things. It's like they're very recognizable because they have the little like T handle for fade shifts and all this other stuff when you're working with green screens and stuff. So I thought that was hilarious. But she hit a button on I'm sure she hit like the record or the fade or the swipe button or something like that, and then green gas starts coming out of the air conditioning vents. Why? I don't know. It should have come out of like some bottle or something on the ground.
We'd already decided that they don't have OSHA down there, so they could pretty much do whatever they want.
Yeah, they do say they do say that pretty much everything's trying to kill you in Australia. So
there you go.
even the HVAC technicians.
Yeah.
So, but that was like one of the things that kind of caught me off guard. Is like, I mean, I'm always looking at these like technical like flaws in these movies because it's just the person I am. So I can't enjoy a movie like a normal person. But I see this and I'm just like, I don't know about that. That's dumb. So
yeah.
But that was my thing. I don't know.
I just like the inconsistency of the aliens, stroke greys, whatever you want to call them, right? You kind of had some which were clearly like just kind of bioform people.
Yeah.
And then like you had this whole other queen which was kind of more robotic. And I didn't get that. I was like, that made no sense to me. I was like, well, they're clearly meant to be one race, so how does that really work?
Yeah, that was the other thing that was confusing. They're all very different. And I'm hoping they address this in the first movie, and they just don't assume that everybody's different and we're just gonna accept that. But yeah, like we have like Gary. Gary looks like your standard like gray that you would refer to as a gray, just in normal everyday
and
life.
Steve is the same.
Yeah, and Steve. But then you like look at his wife, and she's got like this like tentacle head thing, and his kid. And then you have you have the other guys who look like they have like weird other Star Wars aliens. You have all these different hammerhead looking guys with tentacles coming out of their heads. They look like they're off the set of a Star Wars movie.
And I could deal with that, but it was then the very final few were slightly more robotic looking. More mechanical, and that's where it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I see that.
I thought the design for the queen was really cool, though. Yeah, because of course, her being the queen is like being the queen and having wings and stuff like that. She looks like a queen bee almost, which is cool. But actually, they don't refer to her as a queen; they refer to her as an elder. But I see the design, I think queen.
Yeah,
it's like a hive queen or something like that. But apparently, they're not a hive, so I don't know.
I like their lightsabers.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. Yeah,
they're light swords or whatever you want to call them. But I thought those were pretty cool because like they would be fighting it, and then all of a sudden he had to turn one of the guys hit a button and like it turned into an axe.
Yeah,
and it was like that's kind of fucking cool. Like that, I think that's a pretty fun thing that they added in there.
It should have given the aliens like even if they were speaking like foreign alien language, they should have like dubbed them as like having like witty one-liners like "Let me ask you a question."
Yeah.
That would have been great. They could just caption whatever the hell they wanted. It would have been great.
Just turn this into a fucking comedy.
They should have. It would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been great. Okay, so
they probably would have made a lot more money.
Yeah, probably. So the rating system here, it is cheers, as in you liked it, that you would recommend it, that you'd watch it. Party foul, as in you would never suggest anybody to watch this fucking movie. So I'll start off because I usually pawn that off to somebody else. So we watched it twice.
That's my fault. I was gonna throw that out there.
And it didn't really change much for me. It's a difficult rating for me because the first half for me was very boring, confused to the point where I kind of just stopped caring. But then they threw in the comedy aspect, and it just made it even more complicated for me because it's like, okay, it kind of got fun, but did it save it? And to me, it's a slight no.
So here's my question though: watching this, do you want to go back and watch the first one, and would you see the third one when it comes out?
If I had to, if we were going to do a podcast,
you wouldn't do it voluntarily, though.
No, I'm not gonna go out and seek the first one. And if we decided, you know what, we're gonna watch the first, we're gonna watch the third, then I'll watch it. I'm not gonna be against it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, and I wouldn't recommend to anybody to actually just like start off with this second one for sure.
No, yeah.
So with just kind of the way that we watched it, I don't think it was. They should have introduced Ken and Steve more.
Mhm.
If they were in this a lot further to the beginning of this, towards the start of this, it would have made it more bearable to get through. Even being confused about what the fuck's even happening.
Yeah, true.
So that's kind of where I land, especially. I mean, honestly, I paid more attention the second time. So
That's true. I watched this movie around 6:00 in the morning, so yeah, I paid it a little bit more attention the second time too.
So to me, it's a slight party foul. What about you, John?
I mean, I would watch the first one just because actually I want to know, is it more like the second half or the first half of this movie?
If I had to put money, I'd probably say it's more like
But
first
it's
half.
still
Yeah.
like- and as we're sat here talking about it, I'm probably thinking, well, what changed? Did they suddenly get some funding? Did they manage to sign Ken halfway through the movie and then just edit him into the first little clip? Because why is he not in the first half,
Yeah.
right? So there's things like that. But actually, I'm kind of neutral on it. It's something I'd watch just to fill time. Like, you know, the amount of rubbish sometimes you watch on the internet just to fill time because, hey, there's
Yeah.
nothing better to do. But
It's like,
yeah,
I could watch
seek
like
it
2
out.
hours of TikTok, or I could watch this movie. Yeah.
yeah, there you
Yeah.
go, right? That's it.
Yeah. All right. There you go. So it's a neutral for you. And Anthony.
I would have to say a tentative. I will give it a temporary. Cheers.
Oh my God. We're at 3.
Yeah,
split.
we're split here.
Oh my God. That doesn't help.
And
anybody.
this is pending. I'm gonna go and watch the first movie. We may end up talking about it, but I'm gonna go ahead and watch the first movie in this because I'm hoping that will make more sense. I want to see because Tamura Morrison's in the first one too, and I really like Tamura Morrison as an actor. People may not like what he did in like the Book of Boba Fett and a bunch of other stuff, but I really like what he does. And so I'm gonna go and see some of the other stuff that he's in. So this being one of them, this other franchise that he's in now, and see if it helps me understand what's going on in this movie. And if they do eventually come out with Occupation Rainfall Chapter 2, I will probably watch that as well because I'm my interest is peaked. I'm very curious where they're going with this.
There you go.
So I want to know how it started and I want to know how it ends. We've seen the middle chapter. I want to know where they've been and where are they going. So yeah, I will give it a cheers. Let me watch the others and we'll update from there.
There we
I may
go.
give an update in a few weeks. So
All right. Well, there you go. That does not help anybody if they're trying to decide whether to watch this movie. Glad we could not help you guys.
yeah. Hopefully at least our discussion helped you out a little bit. This movie was 2 hours and 8 minutes long though, so just take that in stride.
Yeah.
So
It's a little bit.
You can just skip to like skip the first hour, and if you just want to get a laugh a minute, then you can watch the second hour. So
Yeah. Really skip the first half. You'll be just as confused going.
yeah,
into the second
it
half
really
anyways.
won't change much.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the advice right there.
Yeah.
Just watch don't watch the first half. Watch the second half.
Yeah. Just split the movie in half and then start watching it and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, so let's talk about this beer real quick. We can rate it and all that kind of jazz. So, Anthony, what do you think about the beer?
I always like this beer. This is actually one. So one of my things I like to do, and if my wife was listening, I'm sorry, but this is the fact. I like to get a lot of.
She's not listening.
I know, but just in case.
Our wives don't listen.
I know, but just in case.
Mine's gonna.
Well, I do like. She knows I buy. I used to drink the same kind of beer she does, but like I'd be like, I'd come home and she'd like had to figure my beers and I'm like, oh, I want a beer, and then like the beer's gone because she had some of my beers, and so like I started drinking like more and more like IPAs and more like stouts and stuff like that because I know she doesn't like those. So it's like I got used to them. She doesn't like them, so I have my beer there all the time. But this one, I like it, but she also likes it. So it's a good IPA. This is like one of the few IPAs that she likes as well. So all that to say, if you're not into IPAs and you're looking for like a starter IPA, this is probably the one you want to hop on the train with.
Yeah,
it's like it's not super It's not super bitter. It's not like a super mosaic. It's not like a regular mosaic. It's not gonna like just punch you in the nose with its bitterness. It's like it's got a light enough of that light fruitiness. Yeah, it'll just kind of carry you over and then help you kind of like it's like the gateway drug of IPAs, I guess you could say.
Great.
So I've rated this one in the past as a 4. I'd stick with that rating. So I'm gonna say 4 for Citrus Slice, which is a good rating for me. So,
Yeah, that really is.
Yeah.
John, what do you think?
I agree. It's a good, just light, easy drinking beer. It's not probably my favorite beer in the world. It's certainly not my favorite IPA. I having recently moved to Texas, I've been amazed at the range of like IPAs and beers you can get out here, right? It's definitely not my favorite, but it's just a good, easy beer. If it's around and there's nothing else, I'm happy to drink it. I enjoy it. But there's others I'd maybe choose over it. So yeah. I agree. I think Anti's rating's pretty spot on.
I do say, in my opinion, best IPA right now is Manhattan Project Super Fortress.
Yeah.
That triple IPA.
Jeez, that's amazing.
That is the bee's knees. It is really good.
I'm really liking that interdimensional from
that's good too.
Turning Point too. Oh my god. But it's a 5 or it's a 10%. So it'll it's one of those one and dones for me usually. Even though not today.
You do the one,
So yeah, I mean, I like Citrus Slice. I always have. I know whenever we go to community, I know that's what the wife wants. Like if she's like, pick something, I can get this, and she'll be perfectly happy.
Yeah.
And same for me, especially on really hot days. This is light enough where you can have it and not feel so just like gross almost kind of a feel. Especially here in Texas, you got to be careful about what beer you drink whenever it's like 100 and something outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a reason community keeps it around all the time.
Yeah,
because it's a solid beer. It is, and yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't love it. It's not the best beer out there.
Yeah, I don't actively seek it out.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's
a standard. It's like the old standard.
It's nice to have in the fridge whenever you're just like, I just want an easy drink.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. I wish it was a little bit easier, like on the calories and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that would the only thing that would make it easier for me to have this in the house more.
I will say they do. If you want that, have you ever tried their was it their skinny IPA? I forget what it's called.
They were out whenever we went.
I swear it's almost the same as this, except it's like 90 calories.
Yeah.
I actually got it because I got it as part of their hot pack. It's pretty good. I was surprised how good it was.
So actually, the beer that I keep in my fridge now is the Yingling Flight, which is their super light beer.
Yeah, that's good too. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, because we drank it at the
that's the first time I ever had it. Yeah,
at the housewarming party, just because I was like, it's super like it does. You don't lose any good flavors, that's for sure. And if you like Yingling, then you're going to like that beer. So plus they have a light version and a super light version, and that's their super light version. So anyways, not to move on from the beer, but anyways, so yes, the beer is good. I would rate it. Yeah, it's a 4 because I could easily just buy a pack and keep it at the house.
Yeah. Classic
for any
classic
kind of day.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's how good it is.
Yeah. Do we want to do a thing of the week? If not, we can wrap up.
I have a thing of the week. If you have a thing of the week,
yeah. Are you? Is there something that you could talk about that you're enjoying right now, just outside of movies and all that kind of shit? We can talk first, and if you don't have anything, that's fine. So you don't have to. So.
You guys go first. Let's see. I have
knock it out, Anthony.
All right, my thing of the week is easy. It's like it's summer. It's freaking hot. If you've been looking at my legs at all, you'll notice I'm not wearing pants. I'm just wearing a kilt.
They can't hear you, but that's okay.
This is freaking awesome.
Lift up the mic so people can hear what you're saying. Not your skirt, Jesus Christ!
It's like I'm wearing a kilt.
Oh my
it's very
God.
nice. It's very comfortable. The ventilation is great. I went out and hung out at an outdoor restaurant.
He actually thought I meant lift his skirt.
So
lift his kilt. Sorry. Yeah. God.
So everybody knows I'm a manly man who wears a skirt. So yes, it's very good. I highly recommend it. That is all.
Okay, great. Thanks, Anthony. No, I mean honestly, if I could, I would wear one. That's for sure. I've heard positive things. So,
Yeah, it's great.
um, geez, that was too quick. What she said. I know I talk about this quite often. I think it might have been a while, but just taking time to like mentally take care of yourself is what I've been doing a lot, especially this last month since I don't have a job. Like, I mean, I have a job, but I make my own hours and all that kind of stuff. I've been able to realize how important it is to mentally take care of yourself, especially leaving a very mentally draining job to what I do now. So I know I've talked about it all the time, but like, if you are going through things, finding professionals to talk to, finding friends that you can talk to, and just kind of take time away from technology too. That really helps the mental state. That's for sure. I know. Which, if you look around my room, you would think I never get away. But man, like my lunch breaks now, I sit outside no matter how hot it is because it's like I gotta get away. I gotta enjoy the outdoor life, even though
Sounds
it's
nice.
so freaking hot. um, so just take time for yourself. Carve out time, and I mean, really, me and my wife talked about last night of just even at night whenever we're both home, instead of just sitting there watching TV all the time, it's like let's even just play a game together. Like just trying to connect on a different level, and it's good for your mind to get off of your phone, to get off of your laptop, turn off the TV and spend quality time with each other. So there's my random thing for the day. So
I mean, for me, coming from the UK, it's the weather, right? And I've been amazed over the last 5 months. I still can't get over just waking up and seeing that blue sky. Like, and what that really means is like, yeah, me and my wife, we go hiking a lot. We've been doing more and more hiking recently. I've been really enjoying doing that. But ultimately, for me, it always comes back to the weather. I still can't. The novelty of it just hasn't worn off yet.
So I always wondered if that was like a stereotype about the weather in England, if it was like always cloudy or like it was like basically like Seattle, but like in Europe. It's like it's that's legit though. Like it's like basically like always like that.
Like, yeah, if it hits like 65 degrees and it's not great for a day, everyone's walking around in like shorts and t-shirts, whereas you guys are like, gosh, it's like freezing.
Yeah.
So like, and that's when everyone's like, and again, like we go out and like now we're like most nights, my wife and I, we grill, we barbecue, right? And like you can't do that. And that's I think most people in our apartment block think we're slightly nuts because it is literally every night we're out there, but you just can't do it in the UK. That novelty just hasn't worn off yet. So.
Nice.
Definitely enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, Texas will wear you down eventually. So
especially once we actually get into the summer.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna not want to leave your house.
Yeah, once we hit like July,
so
we get full stride.
Watch this though. Watch this be like the 1 year. It's like super nice.
Oh, I would be happy. I would be okay with that.
Yeah, but I'd just be like, it's the time like what we we meet you and we're just like get prepared, get ready, and it's gonna end up being like super fine. Like
yeah, it'll lull me into a false sense of confidence before next year. Right?
There you go.
I will. Yeah, I was like, I will take that though. Like I think
that's what I not that I enjoyed COVID, but that's what I enjoyed was during the summer of COVID is like I have an excuse to stay inside and not have to go outside into this terrible weather. I guess that's it, right?
Yeah. So what about the socials?
Yeah, I guess I'll talk about social. Well, first let's thank John.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Do
you have anything anything you wanted to mention before we close out here?
No, just thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
It's been fun and
thank you for enduring through that movie. So yeah.
And if we decide to do the first one and the third one, we'll have you back on.
Yeah,
most
definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So John, thank you so much for being on and dealing with the shenanigans of us.
Yes.
I think I brought my own shenanigans, given I got here to Nancy's like, well, have you watched the movie? I was like, I didn't know I was meant to watch it prior. So I had to watch it for a second. Well, you guys had to watch it for a second time.
Hey, it's pretty funny, honestly. Whenever I heard that from in here, I was just like, nice.
Yeah.
You were like, what an
Doing it
idiot.
again.
Yeah,
Come on.
that totally fits us, honestly. All right, yeah, let's do the social things. So you can find us on YouTube.
Let's do podcast 22. 22, right?
Yeah.
I told somebody that that's where we were, so I hope that's where we're at.
I
Yeah.
think so. I don't
Yeah.
know. Everything automatically uploads now. I don't pay attention. We're on the Facebooks at Let's Do a Podcast. We are on
Instagram at Let's Instapod. I'm actually posting now, so it's great.
I know, I've seen it.
Yeah.
He's posting all of the old stuff that we.
Yeah, I'm playing catch up, so
That's fine with me. We're on Twitter.
Let's tweet a pod.
Let's tweet a pod.
I've not done anything there yet, so I'm working on it.
Fuck it. You can also find us on the Partycast Network, which is on all of those as well: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. And you can listen to us at anywhere that you listen to podcasts. If we're not there where you usually like to listen to us, let us know. Everything should automatically be uploading there, but if not, I can auto do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any beer, any movies you'd like us to watch, let us know. We will possibly do it. I'd prefer that the movie be free, obviously, and the beer is something we can actually get here unless you want to ship it to us. So I think that's it.
I think that is it.
I think that's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Ryan.
I'm Anthony.
And let's end a podcast.
Bye.